It is clear that lack of international support for Palestinian self-determination is not the issue. That support is real, it is tangible, here in this chamber, but also far beyond this chamber. The real problem has been the failure over many years to act on this support in a tangible way. What Israel has referred to in recent years, and I quote, diplomatic terrorism or legal terrorism, is in reality smart and committed and wholehearted diplomacy. When Palestine brings a resolution to the Security Council or General Assembly, when it utilises the mechanism of the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court, when it successfully advocates for the creation of a commission of inquiry by the Human Rights Council, this is not terrorism, and that is why Ireland will, in the coming weeks, formally recognise the State of Palestine. I repeat, in the coming weeks, we will formally recognise the State of Palestine. Thank you.
I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Ireland.
President, dear friends, I would like to thank the United Arab Emirates for tabling this historic resolution, which has been resoundingly endorsed by the members of this General Assembly and by the international community. Let me start by saying that Ireland fully supports this resolution, Ireland co-sponsored this resolution, and Ireland voted in favour of this resolution. 12 years ago, when the General Assembly accorded non-member observer state status to Palestine, an overwhelming majority of states voted in favour. That overwhelming majority of states also made clear their support for full membership of the United Nations for the State of Palestine. And that overwhelming majority of states reaffirmed the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination, which crucially includes the right to an independent state for Palestine. And now, as we return to this issue, in truly desperate circumstances for the Palestinian people, when even as we speak, the suffering and the hunger and the horror continues in Gaza, and when a negotiated settlement that allows both the Palestinian and Israeli peoples to live in peace, security and dignity seems so very, very far away, it is clear that lack of international support for Palestinian self-determination is not the issue. That support is real, it is tangible, here in this chamber, but also far beyond this chamber. The real problem has been the failure over many years to act on this support in a tangible way. The failure of the international community to insist on concrete and irreversible measures and actions to demonstrate that they take the rights and the dignity and the security of the Palestinian people as seriously as they rightly take the rights and the dignity and the security of the Israeli people. We know that the two-state solution remains the only viable option to secure a just and lasting peace that fulfills these rights for both peoples. This chamber must have heard the phrase support for the two-state solution uttered by world leaders, foreign ministers, ambassadors, hundreds of thousands of times. But today is the day that we take one small step to convert that phrase from a comforting platitude into a concrete reality, to declare clearly and unequivocally that Palestine is, as the resolution says, qualified for membership in the United Nations in accordance with Article 4 of the Charter and should therefore be admitted to membership in the United Nations. President, dear friends, we are under no illusions as to the challenge that converting this resolution into reality will entail. There is no easy pathway, no soft solution, no magic solution. In today's vote, we have seen an unambiguous expression of the will of the international community. But it will take a vote of the Security Council to give today's General Assembly vote real meaning and full effect, to enable Palestine to take its rightful place amongst the nations of the world. As a country with hundreds of years of colonial history behind us, hundreds of years of colonial experience, we know exactly how precious is that place amongst the nations. In the 101 years of our existence as an independent state, we have faced partition, civil war, poverty, mass emigration, conflict, terrorism, and deep and abiding political divisions. The freedom to exercise sovereignty does not guarantee peace or progress or prosperity, but it is the starting point on a journey towards those blessings, an essential starting point. And it is a starting point that the Palestinian people have been denied for far too long. For far too long. President, please allow me briefly to address the argument put forward by Israel that a vote in favour of this resolution at this time is somehow a reward for terrorism or a reward for Hamas. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, it is precisely the opposite. Today's resolution is a testament to the power of diplomacy, the power of international law, and the power of the global multilateral system. What Israel has referred to in recent years, and I quote, diplomatic terrorism or legal terrorism, is in reality smart and committed and wholehearted diplomacy. When Palestine brings a resolution to the Security Council or General Assembly, when it utilises the mechanism of the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court, when it successfully advocates for the creation of a commission of inquiry by the Human Rights Council, this is not terrorism. This is not terrorism. This is the polar opposite of terrorism. This is vocal and public declaration that despite the horrors of occupation and of displacement and of dispossession, Palestine will keep faith with the multilateral system, will keep faith with international law, will keep faith with the Geneva Conventions, and yes, will keep faith with the UN Charter. It's a declaration that Palestine will maintain its commitment to using politics and diplomacy and the international legal system and advocacy and the power of persuasion rather than violence and terror. It is the declaration that Palestine will take seriously the obligations and the commitments contained in the international treaties and in the resolutions that we have collectively agreed, and that Palestine will demand of us that we, the 193 member states of the UN, take them seriously too. And Ireland, for one, is inspired and humbled by that example. President, today needs to be a step not just towards full UN membership for Palestine, but towards a comprehensive regional peace, a sustained regional peace, a peace for all. Towards a future where every state in this chamber recognises every other state in this chamber, where instead of 143 states recognising Palestine and 165 states recognising Israel, all states recognise both Israel and Palestine. There is a long road to get to that point. It will not be easy. It will mean difficult choices and painful compromises. But it must mean an end to occupation and must mean full adherence to international law by all parties. And vitally, it must mean the equal right to security, to dignity, and to self-determination for the Palestinian and Israeli peoples. Mr. President, that is why we co-sponsored and voted for today's resolution. And that is why Ireland will, in the coming weeks, formally recognise the State of Palestine. I repeat, in the coming weeks, we will formally recognise the State of Palestine. Thank you.